this is my review of My Hero Academia. Okay, so now that All Might is no longer the #1 hero and can no longer function as the symbol of peace, this episode starts to set up the consequences for that action, and is now setting up the consequences for him no longer being at the top. So now the police realize that they need to step up their game, because they realize that they can't rely on All Might and the heroes as much as they have been, because as I've said multiple times over the past couple of these I've done, All For One just kind of showed up out of nowhere, and basically the police had no way to prepare for it, and also they realized that Shigaraki's total MO has changed, and realized that they need to figure out how to enact stricter laws in order to protect the citizens, while also no longer providing themselves as backup for the heroes should they need it, and realize they need to actually do their jobs. So, yeah. And also All Might is starting to have, I don't know, he's starting to have second doubts about Tomura Shigaraki, something that is pointed out to be very dangerous. Because he believes that he's responsible for Shigaraki turning out the way he is, when in actuality that's not entirely the case. It's because after Shimura's husband died, she gave up her son, Tomura's father, up for adoption to keep him safe from the hero world, so that she didn't have to lose anybody else, and that backfired horribly, because she made All Might and Gran Torino promise not to interfere in the child's life, and it backfired, and now his son has become this monster. So yeah, now All Might is realizing that there's a problem, and also Endeavor isn't taking the new change and his new mantle as the #1 hero all too well, pointing out that he doesn't really feel like he earned it. The thing about Endeavor is that he wanted to be the #1 hero, yes, but he wanted to have earned it. And now All Might has gone and disappeared as the symbol of peace and the #1 hero, and he was just kind of given the mantle. So now he feels kind of hurt inside. So he has no idea how to go on and how to proceed, because his entire reason for basically using a quirk marriage and using controlled breeding to create his son was so that his son would eventually surpass All Might as the symbol of peace. But now he can't. And now everything he's done has basically been rendered a moot point. So he's no longer able to. He is unable to cope with that. And finally is the staff at UA, who all praise All Might for his bravery and dedication as a hero for all the many years, and even the principal congratulates him. So at which point Nezu actually points out that has been planning an idea for a while. And with All Might now being taken out of the picture as the #1 hero, he realizes now is the perfect opportunity to actually bring it into question. And case in point, they're actually planning to move all the students into dorms. And we only see 2 families so far that they managed to convince. They send Aizawa and All Might himself to go deal with that mess and convince all the parents to actually trust them with their children, which is kind of going to be wishy-washy at best because of the faith of the heroes and all that having been thrown out of whack recently. But it is interesting. So they go to Jiro's house first, and Jiro's family is a little confrontational about it. But after Jiro explains their mixed feelings for it, they actually do finally consent. And also they go to Bakugo's house, where we find out exactly why Bakugo wound up the way he did. And also that the main reason Katsuki's mom is actually giving them permission to train their son is because she saw what they said about him on the news, and she was proud of him. So she wants him to continue to grow as a person and continue to be a better hero, and that's why she's shipping him off. And also, as they leave, Bakugo actually confronts All Might about what his relationship with Deku is, and All Might doesn't give him a straight answer for obvious reasons. and Bakugo just kind of accepts it and goes back inside, pointing out that he doesn't have to tell him the truth, but he will one day try and figure it out. And then finally is the big shoe drops, and one of the more emotional, impactful scenes in this episode, where All Might actually splits ways with Aizawa so Aizawa can cover more houses, and goes to meet with Deku's family, and not surprisingly, his mother is very adamant about Deku not moving into a dorm, because, let's be honest for a sec, I'm just gonna say this for a second, for quite a while since Deku has had his quirk, all the way back at the beginning of season 1, Deku's mom, Inka has just been this emotional train wreck for the entire time. She's been an emotional roller coaster, up and down and up and down and up and down, and I think she finally just got sick of it in this episode. And that's mainly what she says as much in the episode, pointing out that she doesn't want Deku to go to the school because she believes that as a mother, she just can't allow it anymore. She can't allow Deku to injure himself and for Yue to basically do nothing. And Deku isn't surprised, but he is a bit concerned that his mom is so adamant about this. And then immediately after the conversation, he runs off, and it's believed they went to go sulk, but then he comes back with the letter he got from Koda many episodes ago, and points out that after reading it, he finally felt like a real hero, and points out that even if he doesn't train at UA, he still wants to be a hero, and that his dream will never change, regardless of where he actually goes to school. At which point, All Might gets up, inflates himself using the last of his strength, and also pledges that he plans to devote himself completely to training Deku and as his successor. Something that he iterates earlier in the episode for a brief moment. Also pointing out in that moment that he was both angry and proud at Deku at the same time, and reinforces it here. He reinforces that he plans to make Deku his successor, and he plans not to let him down and to completely devote himself to Deku and prevent him from injuring himself again, even if it costs him his very life. At which point, Inka also breaks down crying, pointing out that All Might doesn't need to put his life on the line, stating that he just needs to keep his son safe, and agrees to let Deku go to school and be in the new dorms, on the grounds that he tries not to injure himself as much anymore. And Deku agrees to that little caveat, and they go on their merry way. But yeah, All Might in this scene, All Might just inflates himself with the strength he no longer has, and gets in as deep a bow as he can, and begs Inka for her forgiveness, and is also very straight with her about what his plans are. So now Inka is counted as one of the few people who know about All Might's secret about how he transferred his quirk to Deku, and now she knows and realizes that yes, All Might does mean more to Deku than she realized, and yes, she does need to consent the fact that Deku does need some help and some training, because his father isn't in his life anymore, so he needs a strong father figure to help balance things out. And because we haven't even met Deku's father. Even when he was 5, we didn't meet him. We didn't meet him in a flashback. All we know is a quirk. That's all we know. We know he can breathe fire. That's it. We haven't met Deku's father at all. We don't know if he's dead, if he's alive, if they're divorced, if they're not. We don't know where he is. But yeah, it's good. But yeah, all that's to say that yeah, Deku definitely needs a father figure, and All Might wants to be that father figure. So yeah, it basically confirms their relationship in here that yes, Deku does kind of see All Might as a surrogate father, and that's kind of cute. But yeah, it confirms their relationship as like a father figure and son figure, because All Might never really had any children of his own, and Deku kind of more or less grew up without a father. So yeah, the two it's kind of confirmed in this episode that that's the kind of relationship they have. It's more like after spending enough time together, they realize that it's more like a father-son relationship thing than anything else. And yeah, that would be where the episode ends, but then we get one last scene in this episode where it's revealed where All For One, having been carted off to a special prison where the worst of the worst are kept, actually begins to lament himself about how All Might actually failed he should have disappeared and should have died, or at least according to him, because if he had, then Deku probably would have taken up the mantle as a leader, so in his own twisted ideology of what a leader should be. But still, in his mind, Deku would have been a leader if All Might had just up and disappeared and died. So, and points out that now that he has finally disappeared, it means that now Shigaraki now has to rely on his own skills to become a leader. And in mirroring All Might's line from the end of last episode, now it's his turn. And that's where the episode ends. It's crazy. Yeah, so yeah, this episode was very emotionally heavy. We had all of the people dealing with the impact of All For One's attack, and how All Might is no longer in the picture as the #1 hero. But while he is still around, he's no longer he's formally retired, and says as much to Deku in that one scene that I forgot to mention, but mentioned it toward the end. But yeah, now Deku kind of has to become the symbol of peace in order to just kind of balance the void in what happened in the scene now. So now that the show is without a symbol of peace, and Endeavor kind of isn't up to the mantle, pointing out that he kind of didn't want it the way he got it. Now Deku has to formally train, get his skills up to snuff so he can actually be the symbol of peace when he graduates, and yeah, basically take over for All Might after he gets his provisional license, which is eventually coming, I think, at the end of the season. But yeah, this episode just affirms a bunch of stuff that we already knew, but it also kind of affirms that yes, this is where the series is going now. Without its #1 hero, it now has to rely on everybody else to pick up the pieces around him. So yeah, in a sense, All Might kind of resulted in it being a stalemate, as I said, because they didn't really succeed in getting any of the League of Villains captured, and now they're down to symbol of peace, so they're kind of at a net loss. So yeah, this episode just kind of sets up that there's going to be some domino effects going on, but who knows how this is going to play out. I really don't know. It's going to be interesting seeing All Might just being fully dedicated full-time teacher, but yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing that All Might now has to pick up the pieces of him now no longer being the symbol of peace, and has to now guarantee that the next generation of heroes will be able to take his place. So yeah, in that respect, it's going to be an interesting dynamic for the show going forward, because now both the central antagonist and central protagonist are out of the picture. So where does that leave the show going forward? I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes, but we'll see. But for right now, if you guys did see this episode of My Hero Academia, what did you guys think? Let's get a discussion on the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below to keep up to date with what's going on with the channel. I also retweet stuff over there that I find interesting, so if you like that kind of stuff, then be sure to check that out over in the description as well. And if you want to help support the show, then be sure to check out my Patreon. It's only a couple bucks a month, and it gives you guys access to a bunch of perks that I am obligated to give you guys for helping me out. So be sure to check those out in the description below as well. So again, it's only a couple bucks a month. Helps me out, helps me improve the content, and you guys get access to a bunch of perks. Link in the description. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!